Yesterday, I got a great question. So, what are the four best businesses for passive income that you could start in 2024? And I said to my client, I said, well, just look what I'm doing because those are the ones I believe are the best businesses. So, let me walk through the four best businesses for passive income because we want to be utilizing your business to build passive assets or practically passive assets while also avoiding businesses that have the potential of losing a lot of money for you. So I threw together a quick little presentation. Let me walk you through this really quickly. So the first thing is, why are these my favorite businesses? And the number one reason is because they have incredibly high margins. And with high margins, you have very low risk. Risk is what we try to avoid at every imaginable level. The other thing that is super, super important that we're going to talk about is speed to testing. You want to be in businesses that if I have the idea, we can test the idea and we can do it really, really fast because it tells us two things. One is it tells us that if what we test is not working, we can test really quickly again. And this helps us avoid, like, so one of the worst businesses you could possibly get into if you do not have a lot of capital is food businesses. And I know that from history of making the mistake. um, and the challenge you run into sometimes is that if that you test something out and it doesn't work, but say you make sales, well, then you have to order inventory. And then, so let's say it does work. Well, then you got to order inventory. And then, so you could end up on this like cycle of waiting, stopping, rushing, sprinting, stopping. So the businesses that I'm going to talk about today are ones that you can start really low risk, really fast and get rocking and rolling. Little or no employees. Again, I'm not against employees. I think employees are great. I think there's some personalities that are really, really good at hiring and they like having a lot of employees. But the quality and the way you should measure your business is not the number of employees you have. Your ability to acquire a customer near break even and then make it as profitable as quickly as possible is the number one like core element that you should be looking for. Then, if we have that, we look for employees to help leverage our time. Nowadays, with virtual assistants and AI, you could really get a lot of things that used to take 4 to 8 employees at top dollar, and you can find them for a lot less virtually, or even if you do in person. But also with the employees, the one thing is that it keeps your overhead down early. I don't care how much money you have when you're going into it, you definitely want to be looking at not spending money on things that are not directly correlated to acquiring customers. That's one of the most important aspects that we keep looking for. And then very low budget. But I think I missed. Okay, so very low budget, low risk, and that goes to testing, low employees, speed of results, and that's why I like them. You may have a different perspective. That's totally cool as well. But the one thing you're going to notice about all these things, they have super high margins, right? So I was in the supplement business for many years. And so we were looking at our cost of goods was, just for the product was around 33%. And then when you add all the other costs into it, you're at it's a pretty high margin business. I mean, actually it's decent margins. Now food, on the other hand, is way more expensive than that. So let me take you back. So one of the first companies that I ever owned is a coaching business, a seminar business. And while a seminar business going from city to city, like many people did back in the day, that's higher risk because you're renting out coliseums, you're renting out hotels, you're putting money and capital out, and then you have to go get the attendees to show up. There's a lot of risk in that. But a virtual or in-person coaching business where they are deciding to spend money with you is one of the most effective ways to take your information, your education, your wisdom, and leverage it. Now, for me, one of the things I did is I licensed the rights to sell somebody else's course. This is very interesting. Somebody that was not in dentistry, and this goes back a while. And I ran these seminars, and I sold masterminds, coaching clubs, and licensing. Licensing is one of the best. I didn't even have this on this list. And our best year was 7 million in revenue. But the key element that I want you to think about is, can you take your wisdom or specialized knowledge, or can you borrow somebody else's and sell it to a hungry crowd that is really going to appreciate that knowledge? so much so that they want to exchange money for it. Now, in other areas, I go into like how to choose your market and stuff like that. But here's what I do want to say about this. Like I went into dentistry because it was a big market. They were spending a lot of money to acquire patients. So they were demonstrating through behavior that they wanted to acquire, that they would be willing to spend money on marketing advice, and done for you marketing materials. And so that's where that was a gap that I came in. And so we sold products, which I'll talk about in a moment. But the big thing that you got to understand is that the big leverage point in your life is the one to many. So before I'm going to talk about this in a second, but before I want to just talk to you and look at you straight in the eyes. I want to say like, hey, if you are further down the road and you've learned things that other people don't know yet, you have the ability to be a mentor and a coach. Okay. You don't have to be Tony Robbins in order to impact people, even though I love Tony and there's so many great people out there as well. But the reason why I'm sharing this to you is because you don't need to rent out ballrooms anymore. You don't need to invest to get hotels. You don't need to have meeting rooms. You can literally now do things virtually, just like I'm talking to you right here, whether you're watching this on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, wherever it might be, whatever platform we're posting this on. This is going to go on Instagram, TikTok, X, and like LinkedIn. It's going to go everywhere. So back in the day, I would have to fill a room and put 1,000 or like a few hundred people in it. It would cost $100,000 to like do the whole production. And then we'd have to make 300 to 500 to 700 to over $1 million to make it worthwhile. Does that make sense? That's high risk, right? But what you and I can do today is we can go virtually and we can impact people immediately, and we can test our ideas for very little money, like for as little as like what you and I might do, with what would you call it? With like an iPhone. Like I have a decent camera now. There's better ones on the market, but even if this was just an iPhone, it does the job. Okay, what I want to share here is that if anything good came out of this word, I'm not going to say it because I don't want YouTube to like think I'm spreading misinformation, is that there's an opportunity right now of where people's behavior, they're very used to now consuming and paying for information virtually. And so what I mean by that is that Tony was doing seminars live all around the world. And when the pandemic hit, he had to figure things out really quickly. And he wasn't the only one. But they were able to put 33,000 people, I believe, through virtual summits in over 138 countries, which, frankly, like they put 1,000 or 2,000 people in a room. They were able to impact 9,000 people in one seminar where that's not even physically possible. And so it's revolutionized their business. And to give him a lot of credit, him and his wife had a child in their 60s because this virtual ability to impact people and to get exchange money, have people pay you for your wisdom, has allowed him to not have to travel as much as he used to. So it's pretty powerful and pretty impressive. Now you can't really see this but it says 1.5 million views on one video that he did 2 years ago. And there's tons of examples like this. Here's a few other really good, we'll call them mentors and coaches, but there's Pedro Skillian, Myron Golden, Shailene Johnson. And what they all got in common is, look at this stream 3 days ago, 29,000 views. 12 days ago, 43,000 views 2 months ago, 81,000 views, right? And the reason I share that with you folks is because like this video that I upload today, it's going to get views right away. It's not going to get 27,000 yet, but it doesn't matter. If we're able to reach those people, imagine you're imagine you're a local mortgage broker or a real estate agent or a mentor to any of those people, or you coach kids in youth sports, or like I coach volleyball, and you wanted to impact people. Your tribe is going to find your content. And if they like you, they're going to like you, follow you. If you have products, services, swag, software, whatever it might be, they're going to follow you even more. So according to the virtual learning space, it's supposed to be growing, or the virtual learning space, the whole world. Like if you think, gosh, I'm so far behind, all these little kids are TikToking and I don't even know what's going on. The fact of the matter is that you and I have an advantage. And I'll tell you what the advantage is that if you're over the age of 35, our generation, 35 to 70, has limited the capabilities, our own abilities to actually post content and to teach. I don't know why it is. I think it's a self-image and adequacy. They're afraid. But we're able to get customers nowadays at record numbers, very short amount of time by using the models that I'm teaching you today. And it really is a low risk business, low cost business, low overhead business. I mean, I'm in my house right now just shooting this simple video, and this will go out and you could do the same exact thing. Even, I mean, there's a guy, Wes Watson, who's, was in prison for so many years. He uses just his iPhone, and he's got millions and millions and millions of views on almost all his videos. And he does millions and millions of dollars every single year because he's an influencer. People follow him. He's got value that people like out of it. Okay. Now, the market's still growing. Okay. Oh, one thing I want to say is that when you start like your coaching business or your information business, because I'll talk about information products here in just a second, the key thing I just want you to encourage is, like, say you have like 21, 23, 30, 100 steps, right? When you get started, just do something really simple. Put content out that solves one specific problem that's going to get them an immediate result. And you can do that today, by the way. Like, so if I said, what's one specific problem? I'll tell you, I got tons of examples on this, but it could be as simple as like posting something on Facebook. Like, if you have a way for people to get clients by posting on Facebook, get them to do that today and teach that one thing. What do I, because they're going to say, well, what do I do next? What do I do next? And then they're going to keep coming to you. But you want to get immediate results for the people watching your free content. Okay. Immediate results for people watching your free content. Your content that you give away free should be better than any seminar that they're attending. Okay. And they want to, because they're going to want to come and get access to you. And so that leads me to a couple other things, right? Oh, by the way, if you want to learn more about how we teach that virtual model, by the way, to fill up your coaching club, you can go over to offerwingman.com/challenge. I'm sure I have links somewhere around here. So we'll keep plugging away here, but we teach that entire model start to finish. Okay, number 2, information products. Now, this is really where a lot of people start, and I'm not against starting here, but what I found is that if you're able to do a free workshop into a coaching club, something that's a little bit more, costs a little bit more, you're able to make money quicker. So if I'm selling a $500 coaching experience, like in a group, by the way, not one-on-one, 5,000, 10,000, you got to sell a lot of books in order to make that math work. And the mistake I see a lot of people make is they go like, oh, I need to be an authority. I need to be an expert. So let me go write a book. I did that. And let me just tell you this, it takes a long time to write a book. Even though, let me just say this, there's a lot of great people out there that can help you write a book really quickly. And you can use AI to get a lot of the work done. But there's nothing more powerful than free piece of content, free workshop, and then you sell them into like a 3-day or 5-day virtual challenge or virtual event. That's the model we teach. And the reason is because by the time they go through all of that, it could be less than 7 days, 1 day, 3 days, 5 days, and they've been introduced to you and they're a buyer that quickly. Does that make sense? Whereas a book, I mean, I got books all over the place, but all these books are legendary, right? Rich Dad Poor Dad, Psychology of Money, Power, Think and Grow Rich, As a Man Thinketh. The thing is that books are extraordinarily powerful for friends and access. Like, so if I want to get access to a whole new group of people, books are really powerful to do that. So like I had my group, my dental, like if I was going back into dentistry, I'd probably write a 21-page book, how to attract the highest premium price patients who are pre-qualified, happy to already pay you before they walk in your door. Something like that. Be very, very specific, because I'm looking for access and influence over a simple niche. Yes. Does it give me authority? Absolutely. But the number one job of a book is to help generate leads that turn into higher paying clients. That's the job of a book. I mean, obviously it inspires people. Obviously it trains people. Obviously it does those other positive attribute things, but it takes a free lead. People that are just freebie seeking, they buy something and they've exchanged the credit card. It puts them in a whole nother category of relationship with you. It's really, really powerful. That's why I love information products. Now, there's other types of information products. I could take this video, you could do a 1-hour workshop, take that video, have it transcribed, put it into a little bundled book. I got to get like a bundled little manual, and you can sell that for $67, $97, $197. And because it's not in a hardcover copied book like these ones, it's going to be perceived different. You could put some videos around it. We teach all this stuff. Like you can sell it for $197, $297. $4.97, and people buy that. I mean, it's a great way. And like I said in the beginning of this, guess what's great about this business? Super high margins. Okay. You get to spend money on creating content that allows you to attract leads and clients, and then you can spend money also on generating leads through paid media. But that's a little more advanced strategy. Not going to hit that just yet. Okay, so number 3, this is a big one, and it's something that I was so mad at myself for so many years because I referred people to other people's software for so many years. Okay, this is like my little AI image in the bottom. Software, software, software. So nowadays, I can't run my business without software. Like I got Zoom, I got tons of AI apps that we use, and I have my my CRM that follows up the text message, voice broadcast. And what's really powerful about this is once you buy a software, you see it too, right? Like with Netflix and your Apple stuff and everything else that you might be doing, you see it where you lose, you're not going to cancel that, right? And so I always had the thought that I could never own the software. And for the most part, that was true until recently. And I'm going to tell you about in 2 seconds. But for years, I would send all my clients and leads to other people's softwares, and maybe I'd get a upfront commission or upfront something, but that would go away and they would have my client now, and they'd be the ones making the money on software. But here's the value of software: pain of disconnect. Once they join, they're not going to leave. Leverage. Software, once it's built, you could put 1,000 people on it, 3,000, 10,000, 100,000 people on it. And obviously it's a little more complicated than that, but that's pretty much true. Where consulting or selling products, I mean, you need to build them, you got to make them, you got time. Scalable. If it solves a problem, you're in a great place. And so the problems that we solve are lead generation, sales, follow-up, content creation, automation, marketing automation, webinars, all those things. Like that's where we do that. So we actually just recently partnered with a company where we're actually co-branding, and I built my first ever software called OfferWingmanAI.com. That's OfferWingmanAI.com. You can go check it out. I'm not going to go too much in depth on this, but the thing is I was like, well, how do we take all the things that I'm doing to grow my business and then just hand it over to the people who are in similar businesses as ours? And how do they just get everything plug and play? And so when clients come into our Offer Wingman AI, what happens is all the same marketing processes, everything that I'm doing to run my business with just 2 employees and a VA, they get as well. So instead of hiring a developer and a copywriter and all those things, you get my business in a box, and 20 something years of copywriting. You're being given the automations, you're being given the templates, and depending on what the offer is when you go there, like you may get my 5-day challenge for free, or when you buy the 5-day challenge, you get that for free. It's one or the other. Just, we test a bunch of different things, so I'm not totally sure on that, but you can go over there and check that out. Okay, number 4, consulting, but consulting with a purpose, right? People will come here, they'll pay me anywhere between 25 to 15 to 25K to spend a day doing what I call the $1 million interview method. It was a sideways sales process that I've developed to sell their premium priced offer. Okay, it's extremely powerful. And then we would do consulting on top of that all in one day. Now, the thing about this is like, this is Jeff. Jeff came to me. He's an asset protection attorney, and he helps people in the short-term rental niche. Jeff Hampton, you should go check him out. Phenomenal guy. And what's so cool about it is that we map out his whole game plan and who he's speaking to, where he's having trouble with the messaging. And then I use my brain that's been doing this for so many years to help make his offer better. And then we do the interview, and then we do 1 or 2 post follow-up calls. Now, that's good money. Okay. I'm not complaining about that. But when you do consulting, here's this thing that you got to understand, right? Is that, let's say you're going to go into a market, and I wish we were live right now, because I would ask some of you what market you're going into. But let's say you're going into market and you're like, okay, what's my best way of impacting these people, making money, and building a real business that scales? Well, the reason why you want the consulting, the coaching, and the information product. I'll put the software on the side for a second. Actually, I shouldn't, because the reason why you want all of that within the first 90 days, 120 days, is that some people are going to be more interested in other things. And so a client may come to you for automation. Well, if it's done for you, like, man, I've done the service business where you spent hours and hours doing stuff for people. It's a pain in the butt. However, if you have software, you're just doing support, right? It's a different experience. Whereas if you have to actually, like we used to do back in the Dennis Profits days, my first company that was successful, we used to actually send out newsletters for our dentists. And it was one of the most frustrating businesses, because it was a subscription, but people, like, one mistake we'd make would ruin a whole relationship, because it was physical mail going out to so many people. And that is one business I would never get involved with again. And then the other thing with that is some people might come to you and they're like, hey, I want to consult with you, because I want to do a deal with you, or I want to learn more about what you're doing. And they want to come right to the top. A lot of those guys are going to come off of your book or your information product. And then the reason I like doing free workshops into challenges is that, say, a 3-day challenge, a 5-day challenge, you're spending 1 hour a day coaching people on your thing. This could be weight loss, by the way. This could be lowering blood pressure, by the way. This could be how to ride the scooter better. Like, give me any passion or any niche, this works, right? And each day the goal is to just get them one immediate result that gets them the dopamine hit, that gets them to the next day excited. And you could do one personal challenge. Like, one of my mentors has everybody take an ice bath every day, or a cold bath, even up to your waist, right? And we've stolen that. We use that too. It's so great, because I had done cold baths in the past. I did it again. And the one thing that's just true about asking them to do something is two things happen. One is they have confidence because they did something that's new, and they all of a sudden have a new sense of accomplishment because they did something, but also they have dopamine and they associate it with you. And so that's why we like structuring and sequencing things in that way. So anyhow, I think this has gone on a little bit enough. I think I gave it to you what you need. 80% margins, 90% margins. Oh, and the coolest thing about software, let me explain this again. There's a lot of softwares, right, that you can now, it's becoming a new trend where if you're teaching something, if you look at all the appliances you're using in your online business, start finding out what they would pay for you to refer people to them as just an affiliate. Like our software, anywhere between 40 and 100% is being given out. And so imagine if you were getting paid for 40 to 100% of another company's commissions. And the reason they do that is they want the customers for other reasons, maybe to establish growth, to go public someday, or maybe to get acquired someday. So anyhow, it creates passive income while you build assets. I'll shoot another video about how we syndicate to get leads and clients coming towards us that are pre-qualified. So anyhow, do me a favor. If you like this, just check out one of my sites. You can follow me on the channel somewhere around here, but come on, check us out. offerwingman.com/challenge or offerwingmanai.com. And then even, share with a friend or two that could benefit. So that's it. I'm Ed O'Keefe. So great to meet you. Have an amazing day, and we'll talk soon.